as we turn now to a major investigation by the Washington Post into Donald Trump's relationship with the Egyptian government, which reportedly tried to funnel $10 million in cash to Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The cash weighed about 200 pounds when it was withdrawn from a state-run bank in Cairo at the request of an organization linked to the Egyptian intelligence service just 5 days before Trump took office as president in 2017. The Post reports Trump earlier gave the same amount to his own campaign, and investigators suspected Trump expected to be repaid by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. But questions about the transaction went unanswered by the Justice Department under Trump's Attorney General Bill Barr, who closed the case, citing, quote, a lack of sufficient evidence, a decision one DOJ official called jaw-dropping. For more, we're joined in Washington, D.C., by one of the reporters who broke the story. Kara Lenig is a national investigative reporter for the Washington Post who focuses on White House and government accountability. Her new piece is headlined, $10 million cash withdrawal drove secret probe into whether Trump took money from Egypt. Carol, thanks so much for being with us. Why don't you start off with how you began this story in the Washington Post?
My colleague Aaron Davis and I began this work while we were doing research for a book about the Justice Department under Donald Trump and under President Biden. In that research, we discovered far more details than we expected about an incredibly secretive probe. This probe began in early 2017 with what investigators at the Department of Justice called jaw-dropping intelligence. The CIA alerted the Department of Justice days after Donald Trump was elected that they had what they considered pretty reliable information from an informant indicating that the president of Egypt planned or wanted to or ordered $10 million injected into Donald Trump's, then candidate Donald Trump's campaign to help him get reelected. That would be illegal, and hiding that money would be money laundering. And if Donald Trump had taken that money, it would potentially be bribery and compromise of a sitting president by a foreign government. DOJ investigators saw this as extremely disturbing and worrisome, and eventually alerted top officials at the department who decided that Robert Mueller should take on the investigation. He had just newly been appointed in May of 2017 and was looking into foreign interference by Russia in the 2016 election. And now they wanted him to also look at this secret matter. Nothing about this was ever known to the public at the time. What happened next, in the next phase, was that Mueller's team, almost as they are shutting down their office in 2019, finally win a lengthy appeals court battle, a secret one that closed down the federal courthouse in D.C. to sort of conceal the nature of the debate inside the hearing room. They obtain a record that seems to corroborate the intelligence. It shows that there was a $10 million cash withdrawal, very mysterious, people walking out of a bank branch near the Cairo airport with a large portion of all the U.S. bills then in the entire Egyptian banking system in duffel bags. No one signs for it. It comes out of a spy-linked account. And the reason this was so important, Amy, was obviously $10 million in cash walking out of a bank is a big deal, but it came out of the account linked to Egypt's spy agency, essentially Egypt's CIA. And that is what the original intelligence suggested, that el-Sisi, the president of Egypt, wanted to use his spy agency to get the money to Trump. So these things were lining up, but Mueller is leaving leaving the building. He is now closing shop in early 2019 and hands off this investigation to the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. The boss of this investigation ultimately is the new Attorney General, Bill Barr. It's run by the U.S. Attorney, Jessie Liu, who tells her investigators this is pretty impressive stuff, but she wants to brief Barr on the matter. An investigation of a sitting president has to be briefed to the Attorney General, but she returns from meeting with him and reviewing the evidence at the CIA with a different posture. Investigators feel that she's done a 180. She was supportive of them continuing this investigation, and now she is telling them she doesn't want to approve their subpoena for Trump's bank records. These records were key in their view to determine, did the money from Cairo that was mysteriously withdrawn 5 days before Donald Trump was elected, did it somehow return in some form to any of Donald Trump's personal or campaign accounts? And they were blocked from doing that.
So, Carol Leonnig, talk about the meeting that, at the time, presidential candidate Donald Trump had with Sisi on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. That took place in the fall, months before President Trump took office.
Yes, this meeting was very interesting to investigators later, and here are the two reasons why. Donald Trump was trying to burnish his foreign policy credentials and bona fides. He didn't have a lot of experience in government, as he has already acknowledged himself. And so he wanted to show that he could make deals with foreign governments and foreign leaders. He could establish important relationships. He meets with el-Sisi on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, which is held each year, and it's September 20th, 2016. At that time, Donald Trump's campaign was cash-starved. He was running out of money, and his advisors were trying to convince him to cut a check from his own accounts to help fund the last little bit of media buys that the campaign needed to purchase in order to stay, vibrant and alive in the race. And he did not want to put any more of his own money in the campaign because he thought he was going to lose. But after he meets el-Sisi, and he does this privately, Amy, some of it's public, but some of the meeting is just him, el-Sisi, and an interpreter from Egypt. And investigators found that very curious because then on October 28th, a month later, Donald Trump does agree to write a check to his own campaign after much pleading from his advisors. Investigators saw this as an important moment. Why, if Donald Trump had been absolutely insisting he wouldn't donate to his campaign anymore, he finally did.